point in the process, use the vector space model. It is an extraordinarily complicated theory. It does work in practice, but it's multi-dimensional. And basically what it means is that words that lie together in a vector space probably have some kind of connection. And that's not a synonym. It actually means that they are just related somewhere in terms of co-occurrence. Without getting too deep in the weeds, you can see there's a lot of math that goes on there. Basically what happens is they look at the term frequency, the number of times a word appears in a document, and then they look across the entire corpus to find out how many pages have that word, and then they look at the inverse document frequency, blah, 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 blah. I could go on forever. The short version of this is that when I first started doing SEO, without understanding what this was about, I just realized that if you manipulate words on a page, I could get my documents to rank higher than my competitor. So, for instance, my competitor has the word Viagra on his page 20 times, and I put it 40 times on my page, and all of a sudden I rank at number 1, and then he puts it on 50, and so it goes. And that's the way that SEO worked back in those days. There was a big search engine by the name of Alta Vista, which again, before you guys were born, probably, before Google came around. And Alta Vista was my favorite search engine at the time. And I remember speaking to a client that I had who was in the tourist industry, and I called him on the phone and said, "You have the top 30 at Alta Vista." He said, "Wow, I'm in the top 30. I said, "You are the top 30. From number 1 to number 30, it's all." For a little while, there was a wanted poster hanging for me at Alta Vista. I thought I was just doing a good job for my clients at the time. So what happens with this is that search engines very quickly realized that the black hat guys were going to come along and start doing all of this manipulation. Spam has been around since Ralph came online, actually. So let's just finish off with why linking becomes the next big thing. If you think about what I've just said, about the way that a search engine looks at text, the text on a page, and tries to analyze, they have what they call the abundance problem. Too many pages with the same kind of text. How do you know which one should go at the top? This is a pretty simple example of the way that authority has become so important. The page written about Beethoven's Fifth Symphony by a music student may have the same keyword density. That's a word that we use in SEO. It doesn't really apply, but it's a simple way of covering what we just talked about. So you could have a page written by a music student. You could have a page about Beethoven's Fifth Symphony written by a famous music conductor. Think about this. Which page is likely to be the most authoritative? The student or the professional conductor? You would say the professional conductor. But when you simply look at the text, the search engine isn't able to tell. So it's very easy for Andre Previn to be at 1 million and the music student to be at number 1. So this is why you have the problem with purely looking at text. Bit of history. In 1998, a guy by the name of John Kleinberg, who is the world's foremost computer scientist. If you look at John Kleinberg, he's won just about every award that you could imagine. He knows a lot about network theory, and he was looking at Alta Vista again at the time. He was looking at search. He wasn't very happy with the kind of results that he was seeing in search engines. He did a search at Alta Vista for the term search engine. He was very surprised that Alta Vista didn't appear in its own results. He then did an informational query for Japanese automotive manufacturer and looked at the results, and there was no sign of Toyota, there was no sign of Nissan, there was no sign of Honda. They didn't appear in the top results, yet these are the authority sites when it comes to Japanese automotive manufacturer. So Kleinberg went back to Alta Vista, to the home page, and realized that the words search engine didn't appear anywhere on the page. He then went to the Toyota website and realized that nowhere on the Toyota website does it have the words Japanese automotive manufacturer, even though they are the largest of that type in the world. By chance meeting, he met a visiting lecturer, a guy by the name of Duncan Watts. Duncan Watts is actually the keynote speaker at SES New York, which is one of our largest shows in just a couple of weeks. I'm really pleased that he's there. The timing is perfect to be talking about linking and the changes that are taking place at Google. Duncan Watts is a physicist. He is the world's leading authority on network theory. He can tell you how every network comes together. It doesn't matter whether it's the power grid, the people in this room. He understands how this happens. And he was sharing this knowledge with John Kleinberg. So Kleinberg went back to Alta Vista. He did a search for Japanese automotive manufacturers, saw the same results. But this time, forget the keywords. He used a small crawler to pull out the top 200 results. And then that crawler followed who was linking to them, who they were linking to, and he pulled the whole thing together. By the time this algorithm, which is known as HITS, Hypertext-Induced Topic Search, it's a real mouthful. By the time this algorithm converged, right at the very top of the results, Honda, Toyota, Nissan, the major Japanese motor manufacturers, and he realized there and then that one of the most important things that we need to understand about a ranking factor is not what you say about yourself. Anybody can write text on a page and say, we are the greatest, we are the largest, we are the best. But if you look inside a community, it's a community. It's a community who will tell you, we think this is the most authoritative site. So this linking algorithm that he pulled together was actually the basis of PageRank, and I think everybody understands what PageRank is about. So the assumption that we make first of all is that if I put a link from my website to your website, that's basically me saying that's a vote from me to you, I think you'll have great stuff. The second assumption is that if page A and page B are connected by this link, if we do that, that we could be on the same topic. So basically what I'm saying is if you like the stuff I write about here, go and visit your webpage, there's some more great stuff there. So that's the fundamental principle of citation analysis that it's based on. There are different ways of looking at linkage data. A lot of people say that they can reverse engineer a search engine algorithm, you know, they understand exactly how it works. Yeah.
Can you use this one?
I can just shout. I have a very loud voice. I thought you got bored there. So where was I? So now we have a look at another way of looking at linkage data. We looked at a directed edge before. That's just me saying I can give a link to you. If you look at this, it looks like it's kind of similar. Page C links to page A and also links to page B, but A and B do not link to each other. If, for instance, page E links to A and B, then page F links to A and B, and then page G. You can see where this is going? If over and over again you see the repeat there, then what you get is co-citation. Co-citation is really important for indexing, and it's one of the things that spammers learned in the very early days, that lists inside a web page can become very important. For instance, there are many websites that list other great websites. Those websites may not link to each other. For instance, if you wanted to do a list of the most popular newspapers in the world, many websites could do that. There's a lot of information that a search engine can glean, even though those pages don't link together. So this is the HITS algorithm. This is the way that Kleinberg worked the whole thing out. It's a simple graphic. The red guys are the hubs. So these are the websites that have the lists, and they're pointing out to all of the authorities. This is where the word authority came from. We use it so much in search. I don't know. You guys can hear me here? So this is why hubs and authorities are really important, and this is why we start to think a lot more about the quality of a link as opposed to the quantity of the links that you can get. Some years later, the algorithm was updated, and you find that Google uses kind of a mixture of all of these. In fact, so does Bing and any other search engine, I guess. But basically what you can do now is you can break down the linkage data